Hi, everyone. Let's see here. We're just getting started. Let me do some checkups here so I can make sure that you guys, I can answer your questions. So let me just open another tab here and I can start monitoring the chat. So we're going to talk today about this crazy supermoon that's coming up. I don't want to say crazy. It's probably not crazy, but you never know. So, um, what's going to happen is we just came out of a little turbulent kind of energy, right? So, this is, for some of us, this was hard. This was a really hard transition. We had to make a lot of sacrifices. We talked about that in our last video about the sacrifices that some of us had to make. And it's it's coming full circle. So let me just give people a couple more minutes. If you're here, say hi in the chat. I am looking so um, I can respond to you and say hello back. And I, so yeah, sacrifices. I think a lot of us went through some hard times with the the May moon, and that was, it was supposed to be intense. That's the intention of it. It's got to shake things up. So before I fully get started here, let me collect myself because I'm excited to be here. It's been a couple weeks and I feel like I'm all over the place, but that's kind of been my energy since the last full moon. I've been all over the place. I am recollecting, I'm pulling things back, and we're making things happen, right? So, like I always like to do, is I like to light a candle. So if you have a candle handy, um, and you are able to light it right now. So if you're not like in your office or at work, or you can do this later if you want to rewatch this later. But I like to light a candle just to invite in all of our helpful after us and acknowledge them. That's one of the biggest things. So I'm going to light that and acknowledge those who look after us, who give us that protection that we always need in life because there's so much we're navigating. And I chose yellow because that's the kind of energy I want to attract to us today. It's more happy, more inviting, and accepting energy. And yellow is bright, like the sun. Also, because we are entering that fire sign season. So that means we are going to get that more intense, active energy coming to us. As a Piscean myself, that disrupts everything for me. I am not able to navigate this energy in the best ways. And so I do a lot more meditation, I do a lot more introspection, I do a lot more of just being active as a Pisces. So we can talk a little bit about that, as we go on. So when we are coming out of this lunar eclipse that we just came out of in May, many of you may have noticed that you were having to reevaluate things a lot more. You were having to sacrifice things you didn't think you'd have to sacrifice. There was so much upheaval in everything we experienced, violence and the collective shadow. And I always like to address our collective shadow because it's something we as individuals can do something about. It's a slow process, yes, but it always starts with us. It starts with how we act, how we interact, and what beliefs we're going to hold and what beliefs we're going to accept others to impose upon us. So right now we're seeing that huge collective shadow. And part of that collective shadow is the idea of belief being all you need versus actions being all you need. So let me explain that a little bit. So there is a difference between a belief-based theology and an action-based theology. And right now we're seeing the repercussions of the belief-based theology playing out. The idea here in the belief-based theology is that just because you believe in a doctrine, in a God, in um, a way of life, or a set of beliefs that hold certain standards, just because you hold those beliefs, that makes you a good person. That makes you righteous. That makes you somehow above everyone else, or leading the good path, of the leading on the right path. Where the opposite side of it is the action based theology, is where the belief is backed by action. So you are not, you can't proclaim to be the good person, the righteous person, the person on the right path, unless your actions back that up. And so we're seeing a lot of the belief based coming through, with some people carrying out some really horrible, terrible actions. Um, I don't know if you saw it blowing up, but about um, the rioters trying to, harm people in, what was it, Idaho, Indiana? I'm losing the state, but they literally traveled outside of that area to harm people, with the intent of harming people. I mean, you don't go there with a truckload of weapons and have body armor unless you're planning to do some damage, right? And so we're seeing that belief-based system play out, with people committing horrible, horrible acts against others they disagree with, and still thinking they're righteous in doing so. So this is where I look and I reflect on my convictions and my path as a witch, because that's what my goal is to live my life congruently and in coherence with my beliefs. So my belief system is very much an action-based belief system. There's plenty of other examples out there, like Judaism. They are an action-based belief system. Their acts must back up their beliefs. So they believe that they're good people, so they're going to act like good people. They're going to donate. They're going to volunteer. They're going to treat people with kindness. They're going to accept and love everyone for who they are and what they are. So that's where I base my belief system in. And this doesn't mean that because I worship a certain deity that I'm automatically righteous. My actions have to back that up. So back to the point, is when we're looking at witchcraft versus other religions that are belief-based, we very much need to act in order to align. You can't put yourself into a garage and call yourself a car and be a car when you're not a car, right? You've got to transform yourself into that car. And so this is where I think the difference between our views and our actions really shine through. Because we call ourselves witches, that means we act like witches. We do the things witches do. So we observe the moon, we light the candles, we say our morning gratitude, we do our meditations, we leave that offering, we show our reverence for those who look out for us and for those who came before us, our ancestors. And this is important puzzle pieces to the equation of living a magical life and living a life that is in alignment with your belief. So this brings us to the moon that we're about to experience in what, a day or two. The 14th, actually 14th at 7:51 a.m. Is when the supermoon will be full effect. So it is in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. And so this means we're coming into that fire season, like I said before. And this is a great time right now, June, because we're, in the secular world, we are midway through the calendar. So those of you who do the New Year's resolutions, you set goals at the beginning of the year, this is a great time to look back in the past 6 months and see where you are. What have you accomplished? What still needs some work? And what needs to be addressed? So this supermoon is a great way to do that. It's a great way to ignite that fire as we move into our fire season and get yourself in a position where you can move forward with your plans. And sometimes that's easy, sometimes that's not, It depends on where you are and what you're going after. If you if you're trying to, go after some big goals, cut yourself some slack. Those take some time. So this is the strawberry moon, and this is also, strawberry season. Of course, they're going to call it a strawberry moon because who doesn't love strawberries? Unless you're allergic, I'm sorry. But strawberry season is happening, so we're in the strawberry moon, and this is a time to tell the truth. Be honest with yourself, especially, but with others, of course. That's part of walking that talk and living that life that is in the alignment with your beliefs. If you believe that integrity is important to you, then walk your talk. Be honest, be transparent. Now, being honest with yourself, I think, is the most important, because when we start lying to ourselves, then the whole deception starts there. So we can try and be honest with others, but if we're not fully being honest with ourselves and the shadows we hold within, and we're not fully addressing those shadows, we can never truly be honest with other people. So that's one maybe jagged little pill that we have to swallow during this time, is honesty with ourselves and honesty with others. And this leads into denial. Like, we don't want to be in denial about things that we need to change, things that hold us back. That could be relationships, that could be habits, it could be the work that we do. Maybe you're in a job that you really freaking hate, but you think you have to be there because it's a paycheck, right? Or maybe you're in your dream job and it's not working, and you're not making the money you need to survive. So that means you need to change some things. Something has to be analyzed and teased out of that knot that we get ourselves into. So this is where we have to start stepping out of that comfort zone. Step out of that comfort zone where we have become so entangled with the woulda, shoulda, couldas, or the, oh, well, this is just how it's going to be, and this is how it's always going to be, so I should just shut up and just do it, right? So the denial that we hold ourselves in is part of that mass of knots that we have to tease apart and untangle during this time. So in our denial, it will give us so much misery that we become acclimated to. So when we acclimate to this misery, what other alternatives are we giving ourselves, right? So I'm just saying hello to everybody, so that Michelle and Dory are here. Hi guys, it's good to see you. And let's talk a little bit more about stepping out of that comfort zone. So maybe this comfort zone for you, it means getting outside more. Maybe that's where you need to stretch your bubble a little bit. Maybe the comfort zone means you need to stand up for yourself more. Getting out of that little bubble of, oh, we're so we're protected here, right? So we can just keep doing what we're doing. Maybe it's about treating yourself first before you start meeting everyone else's needs. Now, I know this one's hard, because if you are a person who takes care of someone who cannot take care of themselves, young children, elderly, the sick, that sort of thing, yeah, there's a balancing act that you have to create there for yourself, so that you can also take care of yourself while maintaining the level of standards that is right for the person that you're caring for. By no means neglecting your responsibilities. Never is that okay. But when we start stretching those comfort zones, we start stretching that bubble that we put ourselves in, and we start teasing apart that knot of denial and messages that we have given ourselves, then we start realizing that, oh, wait, this wasn't all my responsibility. Doing the dishes every single night before I go to bed was not only my responsibility, unless you live alone. But maybe that means, even if you did, maybe it means you could leave them for the morning. It's about finding ways to realign our thoughts, realign our perceptions, so that when we get into things, that where the stories play out in our heads over and over again, when we get into analyzing these things, then we can fully realize that, oh, wait, there's another way. You know, 5 plus 3 equals 8, but also 4 plus 4 equals 8. So there's always another way to get to the end result, right? It's just a matter of finding your options. So during this moon time, I do recommend getting outside. It's perfect. You know, okay, not perfect today. I admit I am not a fan of humidity, and it is very humid today, and I'm not going out there. I'm going to stay indoors. I'm going to work on things in here that need to be worked on. So if you are comfortable going outside, go outside. Maybe it means sitting on your porch and doing some meditations, or maybe it's bird watching, or going on a hike, or going down to the lake. You know, do the things that help you feel energized and renewed. This is very much, you know, the energy of fire. You know, Sagittarius, my daughter's Sagittarius, so her favorite thing, when she's most alive, is when she is out in nature. And when she's able to just run the woods and be crazy and search for bones and stones and identify plants and find wild edibles and that sort of thing. So she really is during this season, nature is going to play a really big role in the energy of this season. And the other thing that I think would be really good for this season is finding community and engaging with that community, asking questions, starting conversations, engaging people in ideals, and, you know, not necessarily challenging ideals, but maybe, you know, discussing things that you really, really enjoy. And that's what we do in the community. So if you're in the Rebel Mystic community, we're getting ready to launch everything, and I've already started some conversations in there. So if you're in there, go, you know, head over and, you know, respond to some of the things that I've posted, and get in there and do those conversations and engage in people. This is a time to connect. This is a time to find others who can maybe challenge your convictions or challenge your ideas and help you expand that knowledge that you have in your head and the experiences you have to back up everything is where we grow wisdom. So we have knowledge, we've read the books, we've taken some courses maybe, we've, you know, learned a few things here and there, but until we actually put all that knowledge in our head to work for us in an everyday scenario or a regular routine, we can't build from that. We can't grow from it. And we can't develop that wisdom that we need when we are trying to navigate this difficult world, right? So those are some of the things I recommend for this time, and getting yourself to a position where you can really launch yourself forward with those goals. So maybe part of your goals means that you have to connect with other people. You have to network, right? And I hear you there, because I'm very much an introvert. I try my hardest to be extroverted as much as possible, but I'm very much that introvert where I can be extroverted for X number of time, and then I literally have to shut down for the next day or so. So I can spend like 5 hours peopling, and then I have to be alone. And that's how I recover. And I don't know if it's, you know, Erin, if you're listening to this later, you can tell me if that's my double Pisces or whatever it is, or anybody else that really knows the astrology of all this, because I'm not an astrologer. I'm an herbalist. So I understand plants, but energy is something that all of us, I think, get. So this is where we start figuring out what works for us and what doesn't. All right. So when you're looking at signs, this is going to be a time for like fire signs to really shine. It's going to be a time where fire signs are going to really, I don't know, they're going to feel boosted in a way. I know as a water sign, I do not. It makes me crazy. It makes me feel very agitated, and I can't really deal with it. But for, some air signs and some fire signs, this might be a really good time for you because you might feel really energized, social. You can get out there, you can feel the energy and be really, really active. So keep that in mind that this time of year is going to affect you differently depending on your chart, where things fall, and how you relate to the energy that comes around. All right, so let me check our time here. So we have about, I'll stick around for another 10 more minutes. If you guys have questions, put them in the chat and I will get to them. So what I like to do for full moons like this is definitely get outside. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. But one of the best things I love to do is bonfires. Like, who doesn't love a good bonfire? My son is all over that. Give him some marshmallows, give him the graham cracker, give him the chocolate, and he's all over it. And that is something that we will definitely do this moon. So we will light a big bonfire, make sure we have the dry wood, and we will get out there and just watch the moon rise. We are lucky enough to have a yard where we can see the moon rise fully right above us. And one year, this was fun. This is fun, but a little scary. One year we're sitting there and we're enjoying the fire, and all of a sudden over by our shed we see scurrying. And we were like, what is that over there? So we're getting curious, but my son was gonna run over and see what it is. I'm like, no, let's wait and see let's see if we can see an outline or see if the moon will illuminate a little bit before you run over there. I'm so glad I stopped him. Because all of a sudden then the wind shifted and we could smell it. It was a skunk. It hadn't sprayed, but skunks automatically kind of have that smell. So we're sitting there at the fire like, oh no, like don't scare this poor skunk. And here we have blackberries and we have like mushrooms and stuff. We have a bunch of bugs and like we have a natural yard. I don't do pesticides or chemicals, and I let it kind of grow wild. And here this little skunk was over there. He was, getting his little grubs and getting his dinner and, minding his own business. And we're trying to be as quiet as possible because he obviously could see us. We were only about 100 feet away from him or her. And it was a little freaky, but it was adorable at the same time because this is what happens when you sit in nature and you're quiet enough that creatures will approach you and you can have kind of a moment with them, even if you're not petting them and cuddling them like you would your cat or your dog, but you have a moment with them and you can witness them going about their day and their routine. And in my tradition, animals are also messengers. So this was a messenger for me about reputation, about maintaining a positive reputation and making sure everyone knows who I am and what I do. So it's those little things that come to you when you least expect it in the most unusual ways that are profound. So taking time to be present under the full moon will definitely bring those profound instances to your door. And it's fun, it's exciting. That's what a magical life is to me, is seizing those opportunities and knowing that you are watched over and getting those confirmations that there are other dimensions, there's other beings, there's ancestors, there's people watching over you, there's energy watching over you. Okay. So, all right, I think I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm planning to do this again next week. So if anybody has any topics they want to talk about or would like me to address, please, you can message me, post it in the group, post it in the event, and yeah, we'll do this again. And I hope you guys have a great day. Happy full moon. Yeah, go out and enjoy it. All right. I will see you next time. Bye.